Hey, what's going on? It's Stokely from Sauce on Delay. You know what I was gonna talk about? I'm just gonna freestyle like I always do. So I really wanted to talk about sodium because the universe and the social media softwares are aggregating information based on what you like to look at. Oh my goodness, the sun is shining directly in my eye. I couldn't even see the stop sign. Even with the shade down. Anyhow, so I want to talk, but to be able to do that, I have to stop to be able to read it, and I'm not going to stop right now because I got to get to my destination. So what I do want to talk about is drugs, acute drugs, psychotropics specifically, whether it's opium, heroin, lotus, marijuana, Xanax, Prozac, I don't know, all these other things, I don't know. Every whether it's prescription or illicit, ketamine, I don't know, Molly, whatever the case may be. All these illicit drugs that people eventually abuse, right? And they're just now starting to make some progress regarding determining how much marijuana is useful. Now, people saying, you can't overdose on marijuana, which when they're saying you can't overdose, historically, when they say you can't overdose on marijuana, what they mean is you're not going to lose control of your faculties, pass out, and start vomiting and end up in the hospital. Unless you smoke like a whole, I don't know, a pound of marijuana, will probably send you to the hospital and vomiting, convulsions, all kinds of stuff. That's what they're talking about when they say overdosing. But now they're doing research to determine, well, I think they're making some progress now and have determined how much is beneficial to your mental health and what's the limit regarding that, because people just smoke and they're not smoking with any kind of dosage in mind. Now, people that have medical prescriptions for marijuana, I don't even think it gives them a prescribed amount, maybe based on their body mass or all these other things, you know what I mean, and their metabolism and whatever. Well, doctors probably don't even prescribe that acutely anyway when it comes to other drugs, but marijuana, people are just letting it, just doing whatever they feel like. Whatever they feel like is their limit, that they do that. That's what I interpret is going on. It's something, I'm ignorant of most of these things because I've never used drugs, and I'm not using the word drugs to demonize or condemn anything. I've never self-medicated using those things. I've self-medicated using other things. I've self-medicated using TV. I've self-medicated using video games. I've self-medicated using food, candy, drinks, sugary drinks and stuff like that. I've self-medicated speaking negatively to myself. I've self-medicated speaking negatively about other people. I've done a lot of self-medication in other ways that are probably just as unhealthy, and just as unproductive and whatever. So, but when it comes to these psychotropic, psychedelic, whatever you want to talk about, whether it's mushrooms, whatever, I think it creates generationally a bad situation Because, a lot of times we're talking about treating people, we're not thinking about them as parents, right? Are we thinking about them as parents? We're thinking about them as individuals with an individual problem. We're not thinking about them as parents. We're not thinking about them as future leaders. We're not thinking about them as decision makers. We're not thinking about them necessarily as being impactful on other lives. We're looking at them as a singular person. When we think about someone who's an addict, we're thinking about somebody that's young, single, may or may not be homeless, maybe or may not be involved in crime. There's a lot of connotations that come with negative connotations. Well, some good if they, we think about young people. Good and negative connotations that come with drug use, drug addiction. When we hear the phrase drug addiction, and it's not what it's not an other person. It could be you. It could be anybody that you know. They are decision makers. They are parents. They are grandparents. They are crane operators. They are truck drivers. They are whatever. They are in positions where they can make an impact. They are in positions where they're making decisions for vulnerable children. So when we're talking about places like Amsterdam that legalized or decriminalized, I think it's legalized because you can only buy it in certain places, right? So they legalized the use of just about every illicit drug. I saw an article recently on Instagram. Amsterdam is backtracking on a lot of that culture. Now, of course, we don't want to criminalize people who are self-medicating because they're dealing with a mental health issue. But people who are dealing with a mental health issue, I don't know. Talking about oxaloacetic acid, oxaloacetate, malic acid, gut biome, the pH of your body, the gut as your second brain, the lack of omega-3, the lack of vitamin D. When we really analyze, the hyperactivity due to sugar and all kind of stuff like that, and the fact that some of our behavior is affected by our diet. Maybe we don't need these powerful medicines. Maybe we don't need these powerful medicines to be able to help people. Maybe we don't need these powerful medicines to help people. Maybe we just need something. Maybe we need to look at their diet. Maybe we need to look at if they're getting enough exercise, enough sunlight. Maybe we need to talk to them about where their problem started and what's a good thought pattern, what's a bad thought pattern, and when a certain thought comes into your mind, that's not a good thought pattern. I don't know. There has to be a more sustainable way than a chemical. Now, my concern mainly is the children. That's why I really said anything about parents and decision makers and people with impact, because these people have children, and we have children. I'm not even gonna say these people. I'm gonna say we, because sometimes I'm sitting down and I'm over here infinite scrolling, entertaining, and self-medicating on my cell phone. And my son says, put down your phone. Let's play. You know? That's like, you know, imagine that. You know what I mean? Imagine that. You know, like, I feel bad about it. I feel bad. You know? So, imagine if you're stuck on some illicit drug. You know? And it's a similar situation where children are dependent on you. I mean, I'm not saying that infinite scrolling on the phone is any less harmful, because, you know, people like to dismiss what you're saying if they feel personally offended. So I'm just gonna put that disclaimer out there just for that purpose. Not that I so, you know, that makes me feel bad. You know, so I put the phone down, try to play with him for a little bit. Play for about 15 minutes, and then I'm back on my self-medication again. You know, and yeah, so that's a major concern. That's one of my concerns, because I'm imagine if I was on meth, imagine if I was on heroin, imagine if I was on crack, imagine if I was on MDMA, imagine if I was on any one of those things, Xanax, whatever the case may be, fentanyl, you know what I mean, opium, whatever the case may be. What kind of parent am I gonna be? What kind of parent could I be? And the impact that you have as a parent results in you producing a certain kind of child, teenager, adult in the world. You know? And your issue isn't just relegated to you. Your issue doesn't stop with you. Your issue does not stop with you. It's like, you know, the butterfly effect, or it's like throwing a rock into a pond. The ripples, you know, ripple through other people's lives. And that's, yeah, you know, it ripples through other people's lives, and it affects other people's lives. You know, so I think it's even though we don't want to incarcerate people who are self-medicating due to whatever condition that they're going through, we don't want to criminalize them and incarcerate them because they need help. At the same time, I think we need to be working towards curing them. Well, I don't even think there's a cure. Training them, teaching them, giving them the tools. And then again, it's still going to be up to them. Give them the tools to make a better decision. And you know what? Yeah, I want to say some more stuff, but anyway, let me be offensive. We're still going to need the prison system. We're still going to need it. Some people are beyond help. We're still going to need the psychiatric institutions. Some people are beyond help. And we're going to still need them because not everyone is going to choose to avail themselves of the training. Not enough people are going to choose to avail themselves of help. They're going to create a situation, a dangerous situation for somebody else. Or they're going to create an adult, they're going to develop an adult who is going to create the dangerous situations. And this person has been through so much PTSD, trauma, and maybe even chemical, modification to their behavior and their diet and whatever. They're so damaged by their upbringing that we can't turn them around. They can't be rehabilitated, and they're a danger to society. You know, and you know what inspired me to even speak about this is that I follow a site, you know, that's about crime, and you see how random violent crime sometimes happens, totally unsuspecting, innocent, to our knowledge people all the time. And you see that the people who are doing these things, you know, maybe they aren't inherently, they weren't born evil. They weren't born criminals. They weren't born that way. They were developed into that. And you can see on them sometimes that they have a drug problem, an alcohol problem, a behavioral problem. They're antisocial. When you start attacking people, attacking random people, that's antisocial behavior. That it's like, and I don't want to call people dogs, but like for the most part, I see dogs on the street. If I see a dog on the street, I could probably touch it. I remember I was walking one day a pit bull, and this pit bull is pretty, you know, a good amount of size on it, maybe 80 pounds. And it was, you know, I was able to pet it. It was loose. It got away from somebody. You know, it looked fairly healthy. But, you know, an animal or a dog that's been through a lot, you know, or been trained to be violent, or has experienced or been trained in aggression, can be dangerous, can probably, you know, you can't just walk up to them and touch them like that. They might bite you, they might hurt you, because they've been abused so much, they go through so much PTSD, they're in fear and they have to attack. So a lot of people that commit criminal activities, it's not, well, some of them are totally fine and they're not using drugs and they're not doing anything wrong. They're totally healthy, whatever, in a overall superficial kind of way. But then there's a segment of the community that is, let's see. Let's do a little research right now. Ask Google what's going on. What percentage of the incarcerated have a drug addiction? What percentage of incarcerated population has a drug addiction? Okay, my phone is, let me see. There are high rates of substance.
Institute on Drug Abuse.
Listen.
There are high rates of substance use within the criminal justice system. 85% of the prison population has an active substance use disorder or were incarcerated for a crime involving drugs or
drug use. It cut off. There are high rates of substance use within the criminal justice system. 85% of the prison population has an active substance use disorder or were incarcerated for a crime involving drugs or drug use. So that just solidifies and verifies what my suspicions were. So when we're talking about legalizing drugs and talk about decriminalizing drugs, we got to remember that these things alter your brain pattern. They alter your, I don't know, is it the hippocampus? Is it the pineal gland? I forgot which one it is. But it alters your brain. You want to feel some way about it, you feel it's offensive, maybe the way I'm saying it. It's not. I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm just, if you've ever been a victim of crime, if you've ever been a victim of violence, I think you would want to consider what I'm saying. if you care if anybody's been a victim of crime, or if you care if anybody's been a victim of any kind of harm like that, then you would want to hear what I'm saying. So 85%. And I did another thing on alcohol. I did a post on alcohol before, that something like, I don't know, the majority of people that are alcoholics used alcohol before they were like 14 years old, before they were 18 years old. But here we see that 85% of the people in jail are either drug users, have a drug addiction, or were involved in the selling or buying of drugs. So it's not really glamorous. There's nothing glamorous about illicit drugs. There's nothing glamorous about abuse of any drug. But, you know, the movies and the musicians would tell you otherwise. That's why I have so much issue with rap music, rock and roll, and even pop music, because they glorify sometimes these things. Anyhow, thanks for listening.